I'm ready to travel to Wakanda. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I'm Chris Gore, joined by
Anthony Ray Bench.
And we're about to see Marvel's Black Panther. And we're both very excited. We're recording this before we've seen the film.
Yes.
And we'll give you our thoughts after. I'm very excited about this. We were talking about like an interesting thing with every new Marvel movie is like when it launches a different kind of film, a different character, right? It's like it has to rebuild the world again. It's part of the larger Marvel universe, but from what I've heard from the early buzz, from the early what people have said, is that this is the most different type of Marvel movie that we've seen. It's creating a whole new world.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, what we saw at Comic-Con, we saw like 5 minutes of it.
And it got a standing ovation.
Yeah, it definitely looks different from anything we've seen.
Yeah, which is really exciting. So, and even like they do it like with Thor, when you think of the last Thor Ragnarok, that movie actually, the Thor series kind of changed the middle of Thor. It started out as kind of a, sword and sandals, Lord of the Rings-ish in tone, very regal and serious. And then it sort of devolved into Guardians of the Galaxy like comedy.
Yeah,
space fantasy like Flash Gordon.
I've said before, like I'm very grateful that it wasn't exactly like Guardians of the Galaxy, because I was worried that it would be kind of that shift in tone. But I mean, you can definitely compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think you can compare Black Panther, at least from what we've seen so far, to anything that's come before it.
Right. It
kind of has like a spy flair. It kind of has like almost.
And also, this is the movie I think we might actually see a white sidekick. I think that I haven't seen it, so I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying we might see, because if you think about it, there are black characters in the Marvel films. Rhodey, right? Yeah. There's Falcon. I don't know. I grew up reading Captain America and the Falcon, so I'm a big fan of Falcon, and I had the Mego action figures of Captain America and the Falcon, which was like my favorite thing. I liked that they were like this super team. But the Falcon could fly, which made him much cooler. And the Cap was always sort of like a little too buttoned up for me. He was a little too by the book for me. But for the most part, black characters have been relegated to being sidekicks, and this is where that ends.
Black Panther is literally the world's first black superhero. Or at least Marvel's first black superhero.
Don't forget Meteor Man. Please.
I try to forget Meteor Man every day.
Yeah,
terrible movie.
The one thing that bugs me, though, having just read comics, all this stuff from like when I was a kid was, and I was not a big Black Panther fan, just because he looked like, to me, Batman, and I'm like, well, I already have Batman. I'm already, you could only. My money I made from my paper route could only go so far.
Yeah.
But what I disliked was any character that was a black character in a comic book that had the word black in it. Like
it was very cliche.
To me, that was just
Lightning, Black Vulcan.
I just thought, do they have to have the word black in it? It seems like you're kind of calling this out, and I don't know. I just feel like that's something that stood out to me. It just kind of bugged me. I thought, why are they calling it that? Why can't he just be the name of the character?
Yeah.
But whatever.
My heyday in comics was around 2006, 2007. Like, I literally had a $75 a week habit.
Oh my God.
I had so many books on my pull list. Black Panther came, it was a book I wasn't exposed to as a kid. I was more into X-Men and Gambit and Spider-Man and Venom and like kind of those really popular 90s characters. And definitely Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet stuff. But Black Panther wasn't really on my radar. And in 2006, he started popping up during the Civil War stuff, and he was married to Storm. And I really kind of tried to go out of my way to ignore Black Panther, mostly because Storm is my least favorite character. I think she's so weird, and she kind of presents herself as this weird goddess, and she has a weird kind of way of talking, and she just never interested me at all. So if you're gonna kind of chain this character to a character I can't stand, I really have no interest. And it was just a character I wasn't familiar with, and but the movie looks amazing. And this might turn me around. Like, I might seek other stuff, because, I mean, that happens.
Well, it was, for me, like a real treat when Winter Soldier came out.
Yeah.
And Falcon's in the movie. And they didn't really make like a big... And Anthony Mackie is so good.
Oh, he's incredible.
If you watch the behind the scenes on the DVDs, he does this thing where they show these outtakes where Anthony Mackie will say, "Cut the check." He's just like, it's like when he does something really cool, like a cool stunt or something where it's just like, oh, he earned his money. It's like, cut the check. Yeah. So they just show this whole montage of him doing stuff and then saying that line. I don't know. So, I do like also how they changed his character in the Marvel movies. It's like, I'm not sure that the original, if you know what the original costume, it's like this, it looks like Ice Capades. It's like this red and white sort of thing. And it's one of those things where it's just like, I feel like when they're with the colorists or the people that are when they were designing the characters in the early Marvel era, because I read a lot of stuff in reprint. So I didn't really start reading comics until the late 60s, early 70s, through the 70s, stopped reading. Then in the 80s, picked it up again. And then I'll go and what I do now is I'll just go to Comic-Con, and I don't have a pull list. I just spend like way too much money on like collected like graphic novels. So I'll get like everything.
The trade paperbacks.
The trade paperbacks. That's how I do it, because I can't, if I go to a comic book store every week, I mean, I won't have any money.
Oh yeah. So, it can turn into a literal addiction. I mean, I'm living proof.
Yeah. But, it must be when they're designing the characters. It's like, well, we can't have like them all look like this. And I just saw there was something, Captain Marvel, like they just, Brie Larson, right?
Yeah.
They showed a still of her from like an early Brie, and they showed her, and it looks like her costume is teal. And I always think teal is the color that when you run out of colors, you use teal, because any expansion team in sports always gets teal as the color, because it's like, we're out of the cool colors. All I got is like teal and aqua velva. Like, I don't know. Like they run out. So I saw her costume was teal, and I'm like, oh no, are they going, who knows what it's going to look like? I mean, maybe that was green screen stuff. Who knows?
I think that's actually an early costume.
It's an early costume. In any case, all I'm saying is that like, when they were designing these characters in comic books, it was made to look good in a comic book, and in real life it doesn't, which is why Anthony Mackie does not wear a sparkly red and white outfit as Falcon, and his code name is Falcon. I don't know.
Do you know what the Falcon's origins are?
What's from the comics?
Yeah.
No.
He was a pimp.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is that... Okay, I don't remember that.
He was a pimp that reformed and joined up.
I had the Mego
Captain
action
America.
figure, and that's when in the 70s. That's when comics made an attempt to be socially relevant, socially conscious, and I do think that we're in for a dose of that with Black Panther. That this is going to be a Marvel film that will really tackle issues that we're dealing with in our world today. And we'll talk about it after we see Black Panther, because we actually have to get on the road and go to our screening. But you had a couple movies you wanted to discuss before we took off. So what are they?
Yeah, real quick, I saw Summer of '84. It kind of had a like a Stranger Things vibe, and kind of like it. It's about these kids that they suspect their neighborhood police officer of being a serial killer, because there's a bunch of kids that turn up missing. There's not a supernatural vibe to it, but it's kind of your standard Stand By Me like type adventure.
There's a review on the site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like I'm watching it and I'm just like, we've seen this before. It's kind of a Goosebumps type thing. But man, like at a certain point at the end, and it all starts with this one shot where this ladder comes down from the attic, and it's so beautiful and so creepy. Like everything after that is just balls to the wall crazy. And it's stuff that like I never thought a movie like this, like I never thought a movie like this would go into the places that it goes. I was really impressed with it. It was just incredible. The other movie I saw just a couple of days ago was a movie called Funny Story, and it's about a very indie movie thing, a road trip, and it's basically this actor guy. I'm sure they were basing it on Kevin Sorbo from the Hercules: The Legendary Journey. And he is asked by his daughter to pick up one of his daughter's friend, and they're going to Big Sur. And I don't want to give anything away because the twists and turns in this are really good. But the movie really falls apart in the climax. Have you ever seen one of those movies where like you're really into it and everything is perfect, but then the ending just fucking sucks?
You mean most movies?
Fair enough. Like this one it really like deflated at the end. It was just really depressing. Like nothing gets resolved in a satisfying way. Like it was really disappointing. I really liked the movie up until the ending. But yeah, I mean, check it out and maybe turn it off like 10 minutes before it ends.
Well, the third acts in movies as a rule are pretty difficult to pull off. Feel like that's, just challenging to have a satisfying third act, right? I mean,
but you know what? Like the movie was leading to several different ways it could have ended, and they all would have been satisfying. Again, like I really can't speak about it because I don't want to give away like what the plot of the movie is, because it is so ingenious and it is so really fantastic the way everything sets up. But like I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, it could go here, it could go there, it could, end with this character doing this, and all of that would have been satisfying. It's one of those cases where I'm like, I could have written a better ending. Like the ending is just bullshit, man. Like I'll tell you about it off the podcast, but it just didn't do it for me. But yeah, that's what I saw post Sundance.
All right, we're heading off to the screening, and we'll be talking very shortly about Black Panther.
So we just came back from Black Panther, and Chris, what do you think, man?
This is different from any Marvel movie that we've ever seen in terms of the world.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the world, it's this ancient technology which is based on vibranium.
Yeah. How deep are we going into spoilers? Are we gonna be vague?
Shoot! Oh right, we didn't discuss spoilers.
No.
Before. I think we can talk about the first half of the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about the first half. Yeah. Because it's
kind of an origin story in a way.
It's a little bit of an origin. It's sort of the second half of his origin.
Yeah,
in a sense, because we learn a little bit more about the Black Panther powers, that they're derived from vibranium, that the country.
I love that they kept with the comic book origins that it comes from a heart-shaped herb.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. His powers. Yeah. But the vibranium, there was a vibranium, and this is like in the very first like minute or two of the film.
Yeah.
There's a vibranium meteorite that lands on Earth right at where Wakanda is founded, which kind of builds the nation because that it's such a rare metal and it can be used for so many things that it builds that entire nation. But it's a secret nation.
And America used it to build a Frisbee.
Yeah. Well, effectively, yes, Captain America's Frisbee. But
that's a line from Age of Ultron. That's not one of mine.
No. But yeah, it's in terms of the technology, I like that it had sort of this is a little bit of, to me, the technology kind of smacked of, this is going to seem, I feel like it's sacrilegious what I'm about to say.
Okay.
It kind of felt like Man of Steel, like Krypton.
Yeah, it definitely
because the bug, the organic, like it wasn't just technology; it was organic technology.
Yeah,
But here's what's amazing. We were talking about this before the screening even started. The cast for this is amazing. One of the best casts. Of any superhero movie. If you think about it, in terms of the cast is pretty incredible. You've got Michonne from Walking Dead.
Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o.
You got Lupita Nyong'o.
Maz. Nyong'o? I thought it was Nyong'o.
Oh, I thought it was Lupita Nyong'o. I mean, okay. Because I've seen her in interviews. Yeah. But like she's in it. Maz Kanata, right? There's the guy who played Chris from Get Out. Right? Here we are both looking on IMDb right now to make sure that we get all the names right so we can mispronounce them.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they are very hard names to pronounce.
For white people, yes. But
And
Mike.
they are white
Okay,
people,
wait. Let
Chris.
me try this one. Michael B. Jordan.
That's a very ethnic name.
First of all, he was Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
In Fantastic Four, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. Also, he was in Creed.
Amazing.
He was great in Creed. Yeah. I mean, he was great. I don't know. Like everything I've seen Michael B. Jordan in, he's great. He plays the nemesis in this. I don't think we should get too deep into it, except that he is. Here's what's. I have kind of a conflict with him. I feel like what he wants to achieve. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but I feel like what he wants to do is kind of admirable. He kind of wants to lay a little bit of justice. Wait. Don't. You made like a weird face. It's like what he wants to do is kind of make things right. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's right in what he's doing. I'm saying that his intention is based on injustices. He wants to change things.
Okay.
In a way. All so right. I kind of feel like, it's he's not a villainous in the sense that he wants to do away with people just because he's an evil asshole. It's like, no, he wants to do away with people who kind of deserve it. So, in a sense.
Okay. I disagree with you, but all right.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. All right. Argue with me because that's good.
I thought his motives were kind of flimsy. Without giving too much away, he has a history with Wakanda. Right. And his entire motivation is that he wants to take over Wakanda, use Wakanda's technology to basically kind of disrupt the world. Kind of use it to kind of stick up for... It doesn't really kind of specify, like, is it just black people in general, or is it Africa? Like, it doesn't really go into specifics, at least, not any specifics.
There's a great line in the movie where he basically explains what his motivation is and why he's doing it. Mm. And I don't remember it at this moment, but all I'm saying is when I heard it, I was just like, oh God, you're not that bad of a villain. You're actually trying to right injustices. So I don't know. It just struck me differently, maybe in a way, but I have kind of a big problem with the movie.
Okay.
Well, I actually have two. I have a small problem and then a bigger problem.
All right. I think one of your problems is the same problem I have.
Well, I think the running time is
exactly.
Okay. What is this? Where I feel like every movie is 10 minutes too long.
I thought this was 20 minutes too long.
It could be. I mean, just like what? It just didn't. There was the pacing issues, and it kind of. The problem is when these movies feel too long, they lose momentum.
Oh yeah.
And so this one did. But the other thing, and this is sort of a problem, and I haven't seen anyone mention this in any of the. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole of reading as much as I could about this movie before I saw it, which is bad. I know. Please forgive me. Mm. But I have a problem. The big problem is with the first of all, the guy who plays Black Panther, T'Challa, right? Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
He's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
he's so good. I mean, obviously he was great in Civil War, but he's really great in this. But I feel like the writers kind of let him down in this sense. He needed some human moments. And by that, stick with me. Let me finish. Mm-hmm. So T'Challa he's the king. And when you're king, it's almost like he's king and he's surrounded by this army. We haven't gotten into the minor characters in the film. This army of these female warriors that are freaking awesome in the film. I mean, they have these like spears and these outfits. There's sort of like these BDSM outfits and the shaved heads.
The movie explicitly states that they're the best warriors in the
They're
tribe.
the best warriors. And so it's basically, and then he has his sister who is
The best character in the movie, in my opinion.
I loved her. She was so great because she's into the tech.
Yeah,
and
she's kind of like Q.
Yeah, she humanized him, except here's the thing. He was never humanized. He didn't have these he needed a couple human moments to tell us, yes, he's the king, but he's also he can be a regular person, just a regular everyday person who lives in Wakanda. So that was really missing, and that kind of bugged me.
See,
it bugged me that it was like he was too godlike.
I think they tried to do moments like that, but it failed.
No, his sister was the humanizing factor.
No, like
he was not.
Like the whole thing about, like how he froze and stuff like that. Like it's
but that was
like
all that was interplay between the women around him, not him.
He wasn't very suave, or like he didn't drop any he didn't show personality.
Right. Yeah. I feel like
everybody around him had great personality.
I feel like if there's a major flaw in this movie, it's that they didn't let T'Challa, Black Panther, be human. They didn't let him have. His only flaw was he froze because he saw a girl. Like,
yeah, no, and I agree with you. I'm just saying, I think they tried and it just failed.
Even if it was like they just needed to bring him down a notch. He was, as weird as it is, he was too perfect. So everything he did, everything he did, he was great. But so is he human? How do I relate to him? I understand him. I understand his motivations. I think he has greater ambitions and great sort of, want to do good in the world. Again, we can't get in the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
But that first, I felt like I was just waiting for him to have a human moment. Almost for him to go in another room. I don't have to be king. I can just actually sit in a chair and eat, eat a Snickers bar, something just something to show that he was a human, right? That to me was the biggest. That's the thing is, if I was looking at this, I would say cut 10 to 20 minutes and add 2 to 3 moments where we actually find out that he's human. He may be imbued with these powers, but he's human.
If you look at the history of Marvel movies, this one definitely has the most blandest main character.
But it's because of what I just said.
Yeah, the supporting cast is amazing.
The supporting cast, it's actually, to me, the best supporting cast of any Marvel film, period. Best actors, holy crap. I mean, there are so many good people, from Michael B. Jordan to Lupita Nyong'o to Martin Freeman. He's fine. I mean,
Martin Freeman's fine.
Martin Freeman's
awesome.
He was funny. He was funny. The way they used him, he was funny. And Daniel Kaluuya was great. Oh, we didn't talk about Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis as
Ulysses Claw.
Yeah, he was great. And
I loved him, but I think something happens in the movie that really broke my heart and irritated me.
Don't say. But Angela Bassett was great, and Forrest Whitaker. Holy crap! I mean, Angela Bassett plays T'Challa's mother.
Yeah, she was incredible.
She was great.
The female characters in this movie are all strong and just badasses.
Okay, that's actually something to be lauded. Mm-hmm. Think of another Marvel movie where the female characters were as strong as this. I mean, if anything, I think the female characters are actually better than the male characters. They're just badasses and smarter and way ahead of the game, which is why they needed to humanize T'Challa. He wasn't, I felt like he was too perfect.
I would say,
king, right?
Yeah, I would say Thor Ragnarok did a great job with Valkyrie.
Right, yeah.
I think they really did a good job with Valkyrie, a character that I could care less about, but they did a great job.
And there are other great side characters in this. Probably the best side characters. What's weird is that like I kind of feel like they just took Black Panther, T'Challa, and made him like, you know, this sort of almost perfect being in a sense. But all the side characters are so interesting that it's like I didn't miss him. Here's the thing. I didn't miss his character, T'Challa, when he wasn't on screen.
Yeah.
And that's saying something.
He wasn't flawed either.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't flawed.
Like, he wasn't prideful. He wasn't boastful. He wasn't, you know, like, nervous about being king. He was just...
I'm king.
Bland. Yeah. He was bland.
Yeah. I'm king. You know, almost like he's... Yeah.
And I blame the script. Like, I think...
Right.
He was far more compelling. Like, Chadwick Boseman was far more compelling in Civil War because he had... that anger, you know, towards Bucky, like for killing his father, and that added like a whole, you know, layer. Like,
but if this is the worst thing we can say about the movie, it's actually pretty awesome.
No, I like the movie overall.
Right.
I think it definitely has like the second worst post-credit scene, but that's just nitpicking.
Yeah, we
really.
can't get into the post-credit scene. I really feel like that's not fair.
But it was garbage. I'm sorry.
What?
It was terrible. It was the worst since Iron Man 3.
Oh, come on.
It was.
It wasn't that bad.
Both of them. Terrible.
It could have been worse.
No, it couldn't. This is supposed to set up Infinity War. Come on. It was a major letdown.
No, it's also like not a surprise. Unless, wait a second, do you think that we didn't see it all?
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, obviously I'm going to see it again. And I hope that they kind of, you know, they did like a press screening kind of switcheroo. Because I
you
saw,
mean like not show us everything?
Not show us everything, or maybe like show us the wrong one. I saw like Avengers probably like a month before it came out theatrically at like a fan event that I just randomly signed up for in an email thing, and I was lucky to go. They showed the Thanos thing, but they actually shot the shawarma like the night before. And they were teasing like, oh yeah, you know, like there's another post-credit scene, but you're not going to see it until the theatrical, release. So we were all like, you know, oh, Thanos, like, you know, what could be the second one? And I waited months.
Funny.
Yeah, and the second one was just them eating shawarma, but it was brilliant. It was hilarious, but it was brilliant because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, it's going to be like, you know, if it's Thanos is the first one, what could the second one be? And it was just them eating.
No, it was
hilarious.
Button.
Yeah,
it's a funny button.
It's funny.
Yeah. But
I'm just saying, like, Marvel likes to do that.
Wouldn't that be great if Marvel just started fucking with fans and making tons of different post-credit scenes and putting different ones in different theaters? So you're like, oh my God, I totally love the post-credit scene where Annihilus, like, what? Annihilus? When have we seen Annihilus? Or like just something different. And then we realize they're just totally fucking with us.
Yeah, like we see like dirt, and then all of a sudden like a claw like comes up and it's Wolverine, like that sort of stuff.
I feel like they could just you could totally do fake post-credit scenes.
Yeah,
by taking one of those portable projectors, shooting one as a fan film, and then when the lights, it's like they've gone up, you do this little post-credit like 5-second thing that would freak people out. Oh my God, that'd be so good. We should totally do that.
Yeah, one of them Godzilla wins, the other King Kong wins.
We should make. Okay, this is a project now for us. Let's make some fake Marvel post-credit scenes. We'll go to theaters. And no, I'm serious. We'll kind of test out our projector. Have you seen these projectors now that like you can
we tested one here.
We tested one. It was incredible. We did on the Christmas episode.
Yeah, we watched Doctor Strange.
Okay, so we could totally do this. Why aren't we doing this right now? Send in, here, my email is filmthreatgore@gmail.com. Send us your ideas for Marvel post-credit scenes that will never happen. We're actually gonna pull this off, this phony thing. We're gonna do a fake Marvel post-credit scene, and we're not gonna say anything. Only people that listen to this podcast will know that we did it, and that's what's gonna happen. Well, you're looking at me like I'm not serious.
I'm not looking at you like
dead
anything,
serious.
Chris.
I'm dead serious.
I'm down with this idea.
Okay,
I have a few ideas.
Now let's talk about Infinity War. We've seen the trailer. It seems like do you think it would happen starts in Wakanda?
Maybe. I mean,
because there's a sequence where you see like Black Panther and several Avengers characters.
Yeah.
And they're all like
Captain America
Captain
or
America,
Nomad,
the Hulk,
whatever they're
who
calling
else?
them.
Captain America, the Hulk,
Black Widow.
They're all like going after a field of alien creatures.
Yeah.
To fight them? Where?
I mean, that
it
it definitely
Wakanda?
looks like Wakanda. I think people have been saying that there's going to be an Infinity Gem in Wakanda. That's a possibility. There's still one Infinity Gem that is unaccounted for.
Where?
Nobody knows. So it's either
We know
Wakanda-
Vision. Let's count them up.
Yeah.
Vision.
So Vision, the Tesseract, which Loki has now. There's the Ether, which the Collector had at the end of Thor 2. There's the one in Guardians of the Galaxy, which the Nova Corps has. There's the Eye of Agamotto, which
Doctor Strange has.
Strange
Doctor
has.
Strange is like guarding.
Yeah. Like you
He
said,
doesn't wear it all the time, only on special occasions.
Yeah, Vision has his. Is that it? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not keeping track.
Yeah, but there's one that we don't know of, and a lot of people are thinking that it's Heimdall's eye or
What?
eyes. Yeah, because he sees millions of souls, so it's the Soul Gem. Other people are saying that's in Wakanda. Who knows? I'm interested.
I'm just curious.
Some people are saying that Thanos won't even have all the gems.
I'm just curious if this is going to end up being more characters from the Marvel movies than we've ever seen in any Marvel movie.
Oh, hands down.
be
They've
like-
already confirmed that.
It'll be like it's a mad world, and they'll be looking for the treasure. What was it? 300 grand under the big W. But the big W is going to be like Thanos' starship. I don't know. Why am I saying this?
I don't know.
I'm going off base.
At least we're not talking about Star Wars.
But I really feel like I need to see this movie again to appreciate it, just because it's so different. It's so like, and there's this great action sequence like in the middle of the movie.
Are you talking about the casino?
Yeah. That kind of feels James Bondish, but it takes place in what is it? Busan, like South Korea, which was awesome. It was so great.
I was telling you in the car.
There's a film festival in is it Busan or I'm gonna look it up. What?
I said I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, you do
But
that.
it's in South Korea.
I was telling you in the car, I think the first 2/3 of the movie feels like a James Bond movie.
Busan, South Korea. Yeah, it does a little feel like James Bond, but here's
like up until like I would say the last third, he barely puts on the suit.
well, here's the thing. My biggest problem with the movie is the running time. Whatever, I'm probably gonna see it again. I'm gonna see it a couple more times, and then like
Me too. I'm gonna pee before I watch it though.
Right. I actually could not hold it. I heard the bathroom in the middle of the movie, but he needs to. I feel like he needs to be a little humanized. He needs to have a human moment of just show that he can make mistakes. I feel like a human moment is humans make mistakes. This is why we have forgiveness. This is why we invented things like apologies. This is why we say we're not perfect. Like, and I feel like that is the biggest problem I have with the lead character in this movie. T'Challa, Black Panther they needed a couple human moments.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because no one said that. I'm reading all this stuff and they're praising, the film, and all of the praise is justified. And I agree with it, but I was like, there's not one sort of thing. And like, that was the thing that really, it stood out. It really stood out to me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So are we ready for Infinity War?
Dude, I'm totally stoked. Like I said, this is a character that I have very little interest in. So I mean, in a lot of ways, like I enjoyed this film, but
Well, this movie's going to make a shit ton of money.
oh yeah,
like
it's
without
already
question,
sold out.
It's already like yeah, like this movie. I also feel like here's the thing that like in the midst of watching this movie, I'm like excited about, and it has nothing to do with me, which is the fact that like I have grown up surrounded by all types of superheroes that are not that are white characters, right? Superman, Batman, The Flash. You go on and on. Captain America. You go on and on about all the different characters. Bruce Banner, Tony Stark. So many characters that are white characters in movies. And this, I feel like, wow, this is like a character that is your first, a black superhero that, yes, I know we could talk about, what did I mention earlier in the podcast? Meteor Man, or what was that horrible movie that like it was a parody film.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Meteor Man.
Yeah. But this is like given
another one like Blank Man or something.
Blank Man. Yes.
Yeah.
But here's what's awesome about this movie. The character is treated with so much respect, with that there's a sense of African history, right? I mean, yes, it's fake history because Wakanda doesn't exist, but it acknowledges the state of the world, right? And how racism is something that we're still plagued with, even more so today, I think, by our current political climate. It's, a discussion that as a child, so many years ago, back in the 70s, I thought, well, I'm watching this idyllic future from Star Trek. I'm talking about original Star Trek series, 66, William Shatner, all that. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is what the future is going to be. We're just going to all get along. And the fact that we're not even close to that.
We're in the mirror universe.
Is kind of fucking pathetic. But like the fact that there are people in my family who are black who can see this movie and T'Challa can be a hero to them is amazing. Like, it's about time. So
yeah,
like that actually was the thing that affected me the most, is sort of like, this hero is it's a different take on the kind of superhero.
Yeah. The great thing about this is, me being a lifelong comic book fan, Black Panther is a character that is original and, has always been a black character. So many times they've taken a character and just put a black person in the role. Like, you have Jon Stewart as, the Green Lantern. You have, them changing Wally West into a black guy. You have, them making, Falcon Captain America, like all these like swaps. And, me personally, like, I understand what they're trying to do, but it comes off as kind of almost like a publicity stunt.
Right.
Like, I think that there are original characters that are African American, and they need their own movies. They need their own spotlight. And this is a great start with Black Panther.
Would be a really shitty character?
What?
White Panther. I think that would be the worst character in Marvel history. White Panther.
They have a white tiger.
They should
it's actually
not.
A Latino woman.
Yeah, they shouldn't do White Panther ever.
White tiger is awesome though.
Okay, well, I never heard of White Tiger, but maybe I will. If I go to a comic book store. Which, the thing is, when I see these movies, it's like, I just want to go to the comic book store and like buy a stack and just like hide in a corner and just like read comics.
Yeah.
Because creating that world, this is the thing that I feel so lucky about, is that I live in a world where there's a comic book superhero movie coming out every 3 to 4 months. Now, a lot of people poo-poo these movies, but I disagree. I feel like these movies are incredibly important. It's important for my stepbrother, who I know he's going to see this movie, and he's going to freaking love it. He's a huge Spider-Man fan. He is a huge Spider-Man fan, right? But when he sees this film, I feel like it's going to speak to him in a way that other characters from the Marvel Universe will not. And that's all I'll go into, but
now we have Miles Morales. We have, he's
yes,
black and Latino.
Right. But
he's a great character.
Yes. But I feel like this is the thing is like these superhero. I feel like superhero movies do a service in a sense to empower kids to think about what's possible. Right. And when you look at it percentage wise, yes, maybe box office, these movies do well. But in terms of numbers, there are a lot of other movies. I mean, we just, having returned from Sundance, we saw so many films there that had no superheroes in them, like zero, as a matter of fact. There were hundreds of movies playing in Park City with no superheroes. But I do feel superhero films, just having grown up with reading comics as you did, that they're important. There are modern mythology.
Oh yeah.
And you can piss on them because of their success or whatever, but I'm happy because I feel like Marvel, Kevin Feige in particular, shepherding these movies out into the world is trying to put out positive messaging. And I think that's important with these kinds of movies. They're fulfilling a service to a new generation of kids, I hope, watch these movies and go, you mean I can read about these in comic books? And then the kids stop watching movies and they go read comic books.
I highly doubt that, but okay.
That's my hope.
Kids don't read anymore. Come on. Have you seen the internet?
Oh, come on. All right. Well,
let's get out of here.